Hello everyone, this is DJ Craven and you're listening to the Craven Happiness Podcast. Welcome to episode number 12. I am got a unique guest here in Retta. So Retta, introduce yourself to the audience.
Hi everyone, I'm Retta Houk from Aella, Salon and I have been following DJ's podcasts or Instagrams for a while now, and I had ran into him not that long ago and was super excited to tell him how cool they were. I love the thing. Happiness, positivity, makes everything a better time, better place.
Yes.
Better day.
Absolutely, and as I always say, thank you for saying yes. We've been what, it feels like a couple months now since I think the end of 2019. We've been kind of going back and forth trying to get our schedules aligned. I had the flu, it was crazy, so I'm glad we got to finally get together.
No coronavirus, just the flu.
Yeah, this was before the coronavirus even existed, right?
Right.
No, that's good. So we're here at Ayala, and again, thanks for having me. So we'll jump right into it. Where I like to start is kind of like chronologically through your life. So kind of like as a kid, where were you from? Where did you grow up? Some of those kind of things.
So I grew up in a small town, Jackson Center. It's about 30 miles south of here.
Yeah.
I played basketball, showed horses. My mother is the role model she's a strong woman. She is an awesome basketball player and awesome mother, and she taught us growing up we can do whatever we wanted. And so she has been really a lot of force behind everything that we do now. A lot of the things that I do are because of her. My dad was a great guy. I have a sister. She's also in the helping children, so we all kind of have places now where we work at that we help impact other people's lives.
Yeah.
So growing up, I ended up wanting to maybe go to college, decided not to go to college, not for everybody, and then ended up going into hair school.
Okay. So we'll obviously get there. I won't steal the punchline too much of the hair school thing. But so before that, some of the things I like to ask a lot of our guests is, what kind of kid were you on the playground?
Yeah.
And then in the lunchroom, and then at the party. So you can kind of take it from wherever you want, from any one of those.
Yeah. I was the kind of kid, I was more like the tomboy, you know. Now, like, all this makeup and hair was not me. Farm kid, grew up, played tough. We were tough kids. My sister and I beat the crap out of each other. And then at school, I was like quiet, played ball. I said I wasn't very academic. So we were team people. We love team.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the things too behind everything else I do. I was like, we played sports with teams, and when you got on the basketball court, it was all about what we had to do then.
Yeah.
And we had a real solid, since I was in like 6th or 7th grade, basketball the whole way up through, that we were really successful. And I think that taught me a lot too.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And did you consider yourself a kind of an outspoken person? Were you kind of more just kind of go with the flow? Were you in the popular crowd, or maybe some of those things?
Small town, I want to say people liked me.
Yeah.
I was popular. I felt like I was a leader in there. I definitely learned my voice the older I got. My mom was always like, stand behind what you believe, and don't let other people sway your decisions. But I think that's a thing too that takes time to learn.
Yeah.
And where your voice can be said and where it can't be said.
Right.
So I was kind of in the middle of that.
Yeah. No, that's so true about what your mom says there about not allowing other people to really dictate what you do. Right. I mean, so the whole part about judgment and all of those things. That's a big point that I like to hammer home about. And we was talking about that a little bit more about judgment specifically of how, as you mentioned, it is easier as you get older a little bit, but still some people really struggle even if they're older. But talk about that through with you of how, when were you did you have an aha moment of like, all right, well, it doesn't matter what that person says really as much, it matters because I know who I am.
Yeah. Oh, there was one thing my mom always told me. She goes, never say we feel. Because you turn around and nobody's with you. So she was like, you say I feel. So I remember that I got hurt my senior year, and the coach was terrible, and I had to be like, I can't do this. And it wasn't we felt this because nobody was there when they would say it, but it was I felt this. So that was probably one of my moments where I figured out how to be like, you have to say how you feel, and no matter who's behind you.
Yeah, no, that's cool. So you obviously go to beauty school, but before that, when you were younger, a couple questions in and wherever this takes you, these questions.
Yeah.
Did you have an interest in hair at all, in the cutting and I'll call it cosmopolitan, which could be the wrong word, but kind of that general genre?
Yeah. No, as a farm kid that wore jeans and a t-shirt, that really wasn't my thing. So I was going to do graphic design. I always liked art.
Okay.
And honestly, this sounds so weird, but it was like I woke up one day and I was like, I'm gonna be a nail tech. I had a dream about it, and I went to nail tech school.
Okay.
And then that's how it started.
That's where it started, was in the nail tech.
Yeah.
Now the artistic end of it makes sense though.
Yeah.
Because there's obviously an artistic part of everything that you guys got going on here, so that totally makes sense. How about from a entrepreneur standpoint? Anything in there that you had an itch at all? I mean,
no, none.
Going up?
That was one of those things. Like I was always a leader. Like in every salon, I was in bigger salons. I could always tell that I was like the one that kind of brought everybody together, but never the ownership part of it.
Yeah.
Or that other part of it. None.
No
Not at all.
That's crazy because that's not very common.
No, I was happy. I love my old boss. Like I still call her.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're right.
It's a little different on the other side.
It is a little different on the other side.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's no doubt about that. So, so you go through high school, and then you go into the nail tech school is where you went right out of high school.
That was first. Yep, I was 19, went to nail tech school. That was like a 6-week program. Started in the industry, and then was like, I can't sit here. I love to move. So started in hair school, and I was 20 when I started doing hair.
Okay.
And worked in Newcastle.
I was so you were in what area? So you were in the Newcastle
I was in Newcastle.
area?
Yep.
Okay, and then so you started doing hair, and then take me from there. How do you get from there, and as detailed as you can, to basically, wanting the idea of starting your own?
Yeah, so I worked there for 14 years. The last 8 years I worked for a wonderful person in New Wilmington. And then one day, those zombies, they'll get ya. It was a little bit of drunk talk and a little bit of zombies. And they're like, do you want to open a salon? I was like, sure. Woke up Monday, I was like, what did I talk myself into? And that's how it all got rolling.
No kidding.
And in 2 weeks, the building was purchased, things were done. I had 2 partners starting out, and everything went from there. So I guess it was like, this is what you were going to do.
Yeah. So it went pretty quickly.
It went really quickly.
So you didn't have a whole lot of, it wasn't like, months and months and months of deliberation.
No, it was just, don't really think about it, let's just do it.
Yeah.
And I love this building. We would pass it, going to the lake, and it was just a gorgeous building. I thought that would always be a great salon spot because I didn't know much around here from not being here.
Yeah.
But yeah, like one of those meant to be kind of things.
Now, did you guys, so you started here?
Started here, yep.
And then, so how long ago would that have been from now? How long have you
We
been
just
here?
turned 7 in January.
Nice.
Yes.
That's gonna feel pretty good.
Yes. It goes fast.
Yeah. 3/4 of the way to a decade.
I know. It's creeping right up there.
No, that's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
So you say yes to it. You say you got a couple partners, you got a couple people that are you're gonna get started on this thing. Talk about that first moment that you had of like, oh boy, what did I get into?
Yeah. I really thought that everybody was gonna want to work here. Because I'm popular. And they didn't. So I was like trying to find people just to kind of get up and going. So we got a nice little staff going. And I thought, well, more people will come. I really didn't know that side of that business of it. So I just knew how to get, my people were driving from Newcastle, have these new girls, but they're like, all of them nonverbal. So I'm like, you have to talk to your client. You have to talk to me. So it was an interesting start. God bless people that start anything from the ground up.
Right.
From scratch.
Because it's a huge percentage that usually fail.
It's tough, especially in our industry. So then as time went on, I had one partner leave, and then I had another partner leave, probably about a year and a half later, and we got into this, it's called Summit Salon Business. So I went for a 4-day class, and I had gone before, and I had talked about it a little bit, and they had kind of gone over how to run a business, because we don't really, as hairdressers, we can't count.
Yeah.
Can't count. Use our fingers.
You don't necessarily need to, though, right?
Yeah. Just count some hairs. And so they really sat down and showed us how to run a business, and from there it just exploded. So that's what now we're at 40 employees.
Oh wow, 40 employees.
40 employees, and I retired from the chair 3 years ago.
Oh wow.
To run them, because it was like me or them. It has to be about them.
Yeah.
It has to be about the team.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. So how was that transition for you to, like you said, out of the chair, so to speak?
Yeah.
And it's been a little while now, so you've had some time, maybe not a huge amount of time, but it's been long enough.
Yeah.
So how was that transition to you to kind of give up the scissors, so to speak?
Yeah. It was scary at first.
Yeah, I would imagine.
But I'm like watching. I get all my girls are from school. Watching them grow and getting to that next level and seeing them buy cars and houses and go on trips and live the best life they're having is absolutely fills my heart completely. So that is the best thing. I could not do it behind the chair. So I needed to be here for them. They're my family.
Yeah.
So I just love them to death.
Yeah, I can tell you your somewhat answer would be to this, of that there's a saying that I've heard about, you know, now that you've gotten to that point where you're the owner or you're the manager or whatever, you're above somebody else, in quotation marks, that now you work for them opposed to them working for you.
Yeah. I clean the toilets. I will help them out and I'll clean the toilets.
Yeah, because I mean, as you mentioned it earlier, in going through high school, you were all about the team, right? So it sounds like that mentality kind of brought right into this.
Yeah, along with my mom, she was a principal right down here at First District, and so that was her thing too. You have a strong team, you have a strong foundation. You can pretty much conquer anything together.
Yeah,
I'm a big believer in that.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. So what specifically, whether it be from when you started, you know, working at somebody else's place, or even here, and maybe if there's even a couple answers to this, of what kind of makes you the happiest at work specifically?
Happiest at work, I love, this is my number one favorite thing, when a client comes in and be like, your girls are such great team players. Love that. Watching them learn something. Like, I don't have any children, so for me, I'm sure like watching your kids like learn something, ride a bike, like same thing when that haircut goes off, that color comes out perfect, like how proud they are of themselves.
Yeah.
And I'm a big believer in money gives you freedom. So I want them to have that freedom to make choices that they want.
Yeah.
Cars, houses, whatever they need to do at that time for themselves.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's and again, it makes sense, everything we've talked about so far, that's the answer for you.
I know, yes, it's them. And a lot of people think in our industry, like they're just like, oh, they're just like, we do a ton of education. This is a company that's run with rules and guidelines so that everybody can have a beautiful life.
Yeah.
We want the whole area to have a beautiful life.
Right.
I get all excited when there's something new in town, like Meadville's getting it.
Yes. Hopefully, right? Hopefully we're getting it.
Support it.
Yes, absolutely. So you talk about a lot of things that relates to self-awareness, and self-awareness is a big part of some of the things that I like to talk about. So how has that been for you to kind of somewhat realize it? Because I think that as you talk about like finding your voice, that's something that you really almost learn into. It's not something that everybody knows right from the get-go.
No, it's definitely something you learn into and you grow into. I've watched some of them as they've grown up. Some of my staff like come from like they don't speak, they don't know what to say, to becoming very strong women that stand up for themselves. So it's that's really important to me, is to see them do that.
Yeah.
We really try to work on verbiage and attitudes and being positive.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, just to tie it into like the self-awareness specifically, even to you, when do you think you kind of had some of those clicks and did you have any kind of moments that really understanding that your own self-awareness can really affect how you interact with people, your everyday life, all those things? It's
probably been like, I feel like the light bulb kind of goes off at 30, and then from 30 I'll be 40 in September. I feel like that is something that I've like worked on, like self-esteem, self-confidence, helping out, like that grows you into that person.
Yeah, absolutely. And
experience.
Yes, experience. And again, you're not much older than me, just a few years older than me, and it's the same thing, the experience of thinking about that, of how long we're all going to live, right?
Yeah.
Because we've got this experience that we've got a good amount of experience, right? But at the same time, it's such small if you look at it from a macro perspective.
And that's when you come into the whole appreciation of everything. Like that Celebrex commercial gets me, that body emotion stays emotion. So I'm like, you gotta stay emotion. You gotta stay positive.
That was the next thing I was going to go. It's funny you should say that, was positivity. You're obviously a very positive person. Has that, speak a little bit about that, of how that's kind of transcended you, of just, I guess, and I could almost speak on it a little bit too, but just speaking on positivity just in general, and how that affects you, even just your day-to-day life, or here at work, or anywhere. Yeah,
I mean, it always could be better, it could be worse. But if you always can think of it as more of a positive side, like a learning lesson or an experience, then you can build from there. Instead of taking it, like a lot of people live in their head. I think it's like 82% of people live in their head. And you just got to be able to get out of that and find the positivity in that day. I found myself starting to surround myself by more positive people too. So that's helped a lot too.
Yeah.
I had a problem the other day, and my friend was like, you know what, if one of them had a 99, who cares, you had 99. And I was like, instead of thinking about that one all day long. Yeah, absolutely. It's helpful then being around other positive people, and it's like, thank you, I needed that today.
Yeah, it's all about that positivity has a perception in there as well, because your different perception of, just like you said, if 1 out of 99, it's like, or 1 out of 100, it's like, okay, there's 99 of them.
Yeah.
Your perception of different things, I think, has a big play on positivity. And you mentioned surrounding yourself with positive people.
Yeah.
That can have a big impact, because again, it's just, they can bring you down if all that's all you hear and that's all you're surrounded by.
It could just change your whole, you can feel it. And I'm an energy person too. Like, I want to feel the energy. I want to feel the positivity. I want to feel the happiness.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very cool. On the regards of happiness, and you're just taking right down, this is unbelievable. You're saying the words before I'm getting there. I love it. How do you define happiness? Have you thought about it in that way?
Yeah, I mean, I think happiness too, I think at every age, I go like this, 20s, 30s, 40s, we'll see how 40s go. You have a different set of happiness in through there. Recently I've stepped back and be like, what makes me happy? So I've really made some big life changes to find where I'm happy at. And I'm happy.
Yeah.
And I just have to keep on just finding more of that and finding because sometimes I'll just give it to everybody else and then what makes me happy. So trying to sit back and being like, what's my next chapter at this age? What am I going to learn, and how can I be happier and live the rest of my life like that?
Yeah. And have you thought about that? Like, what does make you happy in your 40s? Have you thought about that?
No, I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to take some more time so I can enjoy things. Instead of being like, I have to work.
Yeah.
I want to do that.
And when you say take time, maybe slowing down to maybe enjoy the moment a little bit more?
Yeah, and that's the other thing I know about myself, because I'm a squirrel. I'm everywhere. Is just being present in that moment, and it's and just taking a deep breath in, enjoying it.
Yeah, being able to kind of let it almost soak in a little bit, right?
Yeah, breathe it in and be like, yes, this is the sun's beautiful, whatever's going on is great, and appreciate that.
Yeah, because it's extremely hard to do that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things that I talk about with happiness is it's a lot easier to say than it is to do.
Yeah.
And that's definitely one of them, of just trying to take in the moment, trying to really relish in what's going on and realize where you are and what is happening at that exact time. So
yes.
That's good because you got to constantly think about it. I think of it as almost like using muscles. I mean, when you practice, whatever it is. Push-ups, for example.
Mm-hmm.
You got to practice push-ups to get good at push-ups.
Yes.
You got to practice positivity and relishing the moment in order to get good at it, and eventually you will get better.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it takes 10,000 hours to master something, so you can always think of it that way too. I'm going to master this in 6 years.
Yeah.
Positive.
But again, 6 years, you're not really that old. You're not even halfway through your life.
You can change anything you want.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
The world is yours, right?
Yes. Yeah. What is it, 30 days to change a habit or something like that?
Something along those lines, yeah.
10,000 hours to master it.
Yeah, that's cool. I've never heard that, but it totally sounds like it'd be completely accurate for me.
Mm-hmm.
What about fear? I've asked a lot of people, and I've realized that I've asked more people that have been a little bit later in life on this question. So someone that's closer to my age, I wanted to ask today of, what do you fear?
Yeah, vulnerability. Being vulnerable, being weak, not being strong, making good decisions. Probably plays into all of that.
And you think that that's because of what other people will think of it? Those
I don't
bad decisions?
Or disappointment. Yeah, I'm definitely one of those people. I want people to be happy. It's I don't want to see you disappointed.
Yeah.
I don't show a lot of. I'm hoping that I'm loving. I show emotion. I'm appreciative for everything. So I just get worried about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. It's totally. I mean, again, there's no right or wrong answers to these things.
No. Yeah.
One other thing that I talk about, I'd like to just kind of get your thoughts on, are some of people's actions don't necessarily map their ambitions, and maybe even if you have, maybe you can see that somehow maybe change in maybe some of your employees or people that you've been around. So what do you think about that? Because I like to think of it as, if your ambition is X, well, this is kind of how your actions have to be that way.
Yes.
If you want to be a billionaire, well, you got to act like a billionaire.
Yeah.
That's one example.
Yeah. We talk about it a lot, because that, again, back to that positive, it'll get you farther. As soon as you get negative caught in your mind, you're going to bring a couple down other people with you. They're going to hang out with you. You're not going to get anything done. So yes, it can be changed. I've seen people where I've tried to learn where they're coming from, my staff or even clients, to see what kind of a day they had, what kind of a home life do they have, what kind of little things set them back from growing themselves, and pinpointing that and working on that. And I've seen a couple of them just, kind of just, endless amounts of like, where has this been? Like, this is great.
There it is. We found it.
Yeah, like it came out.
Yeah.
It can come out. Sometimes I've seen it reverse too. It just depends on what's going on through their lives. What they decide that that's happiness at their time for them too.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of that, to me, things about it, like you said, like when you pinpoint on somebody like of their happiness, of it's so funny's not the right word, but somewhat of just, you think about it from like, nobody really knows what's going on in that person's life. Even I'm sure you're extremely close with your coworkers and employees that work here, and but you don't really know still all the details of what's going through them, because nobody does other than that person.
Yeah.
They're the only one that really knows themselves that well.
Yeah. And just to ask, instead of saying like, this customer's having a bad day, or my coworker's having, she's just being like whatever, go ask her. Be like, is there something, or like, it's amazing what something, just a kind touch. How are you doing today? Do you need anything? Is something going on? It just spins their world around, and it just makes it better. Yeah. And we all live in that, where we're like, thank you for that. I needed it.
Yeah. There's an appreciation.
Yeah.
Right? And then that spins into kind of the communication part of it. Because I fully feel that the fuel of this world for things to be successful is communication.
Yeah.
If you can communicate things, you can get a lot of things done.
Yes. And not over text.
Yeah. So talk to me a little about that. So are you you would like to be more of a verbal than the text? Is that what you?
I like, if I'm, I might just say like a blank statement, like, hey, we got to work on this, but I'd rather have to talk about it. Texting's too hard. You can't tell emotion through a text.
No, you can't, and I think sometimes even worse, you can misinterpret emotion.
Yeah. And then again, they're gonna live in your head. She doesn't like me.
Yeah.
This is what's gonna happen. Yeah. I like to, let's talk it out.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you somewhat check in on your employees on a regular basis in that way?
Yeah.
Try to as much as you can.
As much as I can.
It's one of those things that, as being involved in a family business myself, certainly we're at a different level, just altogether. But it's one of those things that I find it's hard to do it, but you have to do it, right? You just got to find that time to try to get to kind of like try to get to everybody.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
And they're your work family just like your family,
yeah.
And they need that. So we check in on each other. They check in on me. They're always like, hey, haven't heard from you. They're a great group. Try to do team building things. Yeah, it's very important.
Well, I mean, and you think about it from a family standpoint, a lot of times you see these people more than you see your own family.
That's very true. Very true.
There's a lot because there's just the amount of hours that you work, even if it's only 40 hours or plus, whatever it is. I mean, you interact with these people that you work with a lot more than sometimes your own family. Yeah.
I threaten them, like, I'm going to cuff you in the basement and make you sing Kumbaya. I haven't yet, but it's really funny when I say it.
It's funny. So what's kind of the next steps for Aella? Anything that big that you've got planned? Again, not that there's any dramatic
parking. So everybody's like, "Where's the parking lot?" Parking lot's coming. I'm working on that. So parking lot. I would like to just keep on growing. That's what we're gonna do. We have different level systems, so what's nice about that is that we're not one set price. So somebody comes through the door looking at a certain price range, and we try to fit it into their beauty budget.
Nice.
And they work so well together on my staff. They're like, hey, you'd be really great with this level too, and I'm gonna help her. Love that. So if you're ever here, you'll have like everybody will be touching your head because they'll all be very involved in what's going on.
Right. Well, that's smart. That's
just growing.
That's smart. Yeah. One thing I forgot to ask, as I mentioned, that where did the name Aella come from?
It came from one of my first partners came up with it. It was Whirlwind.
It just came up out of there's no story
there. That was honestly the hardest thing to do was like pick a name.
Yeah.
And pick furniture.
And pick furniture.
Yeah.
That was hard.
We came back and we're like, we have 3 chairs. I don't know what the heck we were thinking. Yeah.
And isn't it funny that, you named it Aella, there's not so there isn't a crazy story behind it of that it's, a couple people's names or whatever the case is, but because of what you've been able to do from a branding perspective, it almost doesn't really matter.
Yeah. No.
Because it's not, it's just a name, right? There's nothing behind it other than the people that work here and the branding and everything that it represents and you and everybody else that's around. It completely means that something different to somebody.
And I'm not. People come out like, oh, I never gone there. I'm kind of intimidated to go there. And I was like, wait till you come in, because people will say that and like, I came in, I felt so comfortable. Your staff is so nice. Everybody works so well together. Like, so we're not a scary group.
Yeah.
We love people, probably a little too much.
Maybe from that standpoint.
Yeah, we'll like smother you a little too much.
But just try, right? I mean, that's the one thing that I would say, whether it's here or if it's anything, just try it. Because you don't really know whether you would like something or not until you try it.
No, and we can't fix it if we don't know either. Like I said, honesty is the best policy. Like, we're women, we can change our mind. No problem. We blonde tomorrow, we'll work on that.
Absolutely. I'll leave the gender debate alone. The only other thing that that I have is just kind of I like at the end, towards the end, and just to kind of open floor here. Anything, open mic, open dialogue, anything that you want to add here towards the end?
No, I just love the whole thing that you're doing with the happiness. Like, it makes me happy. I've been reading more leadership books and love languages to try to find out how to make myself. And then I think if I'm happier and I'm stronger and I respect myself, then I feel like my staff will. So as a leader, I really want them to grow and do that too. So then they can help somebody else.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is just fantastic.
Well, I'm just glad we were able to get connected.
I know.
Again, thank you for saying yes. This has been great. I appreciate the time. Maybe we'll get together another time. And again, I really appreciate it. And everybody out there listening and watching, thank you. And we'll see you on the other side.
And be happy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.